Okay, hello, and welcome to our latest Fishbowl Talk. This one's all about manifesting Moxie, and we are going to be chatting with the fabulous Tys Johnson-Anderson. She is a woman who needs absolutely no introduction, but I am going to get her to tell us a little bit about her stuff, because I have to tell you, her journey is kind of nuts. Like, it's so cool and so crazy, and she's got the chops, and I really want you to have an idea about kind of her evolution into this role and as a powerhouse in the energy realm right now, and how she got here, because it's like, and then after that, we'll get into the specifics about the work she does and how you can apply it in your life to start co-creating your dream life, essentially.
Right.
Sweet. So, Ty, I just want to kind of like back the train like way up for a second. You came from a super heady intellectual career as an analyst.
Yes. I was I was a cyber terrorism analyst at Cyber Command at NSA. So, yeah.
Like, take us on the journey. Like, how do you go from that to where you are now?
Well, when I was 17, I joined the service. I joined the Army Reserve, and so I became trained as an analyst. And I'm from Maryland, which we call alphabet soup out here. You have CIA, FBI, any three-letter agency is in Maryland and DC and Virginia. So I'm like Intel Haven out here. So I started getting into intelligence. I've worked for the Counterterrorism Center, CIA. I've done work with FBI. So I've been all over the place and mostly focusing on counterterrorism. But although I'm good at that, I was never happy. So it was something that made me money. Right? And I'm sure you guys have those types of things. You do it because it makes you money. And I was making $130,000 a year, but I was completely fucking miserable. I hated going to work every day. I love the people that I worked with, but I hated going to work every day. And one day I went to a conference and it said, write down your ideal day. Right. And so ideally, I was like, I want to be home with my daughter. I want to have money coming in while I work my business full time to support my family. I don't want us to struggle. And 3 hours later, I was seizing on the floor of urgent care. And that began my evolution because they knew Ty would never leave the intel world. I was there for 16 years. It was all I knew. Like, literally, that was my job right out of high school. At 20, I was making $90,000 a year. So it was like I was never going to leave. So they had to give me the Sparta kick, that this is Sparta kick in the back, and was like, get the fuck out of here, right? And so they made it so that I couldn't go back to work. I started having seizures, and they were uncontrollable. I forgot how to walk. My brain forgot how to walk. Just woke up one day, was like, okay, how do these two things at the bottom of your body work, right? And so I went to rehab to learn how to walk again. It was about 6 months before I could walk without like stutter stepping. And it was about those 6 months I spent trying to be able to walk up the stairs without having a seizure and all these other things. So it was really hard. But when I looked at it, I was like, holy shit, they gave me everything I asked for. I said I wanted to be home with my daughter when she gets home from school. I'm home every day when she gets home from school, unless I decide I wanted to get out and do something. But I have money coming in because of disability, and it's more than enough, right? And then I'm able to work my business full time. And so I'm just like, okay, I see you, right? I see what you did there, right? And so after about a year, it took me about a year to come to the realization that I got everything I asked for, and then some. And it landed me here. And so I started working my business the way that I told them I wanted to. I started showing up and doing what I said I wanted to do. But it took me a good solid 6-7 months after initially getting sick to actually start working on what I said I wanted, because the first 6-7 months I was in total depression, because it was like I was not ready. I wasn't ready, right? I had a lot of mouth talk, right? And it's like, oh, I want to do this and do this, but I wanted to do it on my own terms, you know? And I just wasn't ready, and it took a lot, and it still is a daily thing to say, you can do this. You got this. As much as I've helped people over the course of 2.5 years and all of this, this is still a daily thing. Like, you got this, chick. And so it's not easy.
Through that transition of like being able to work through the depression to come out the other side and to build a career in service, because that's what you do. You're in service. And we'll talk more about that in a second. Like, were you already like really spiritually connected at that point, or did you find faith through the struggle?
I was not spiritual per se. Okay, so 6 months prior to me getting sick, I had started using my gifts. So I've been gifted all my life, but I never used them until like 6 months before I started getting sick. When I got pregnant with my daughter about 7 years ago is when I started getting into it. So I started doing hypnosis for childbirth when I got pregnant with Jayla. And that started my woo train, right? And it's just, love it. And so after that, I was like, after having a 72-hour painless childbirth, I was like, holy shit, this can work. And so I just started looking more and more into it. I was dabbling. And then I got a reading that was like, do you know you're a medium? And I was like, no, not me. And they were like, yeah, you are. And I was like, and it was like, do you hear people talking in your head? I was like, I mean, who does it, right? And they're like, no. Do they talk in third person at you? And I'm like, yeah, who doesn't? They was like, that's not
most
normal. It's not normal. And I was like, well, it's been like this my whole life. And they were like, yeah, because you're a medium. And so I started seeking guidance on how to control my abilities. And that is how I started going into service. And I was just using it for my personal stuff. And then my mentor, my spiritual mentor that was teaching me how to use it was just like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And it took me almost a year to get into the groove of saying, I do this. I was so uncomfortable with saying I do this. I was so uncomfortable with my gift, trusting that what I heard was correct. And like, even now I second guess it. Because it comes so effortlessly. Like, literally, I hear it like they're talking in my head, and I'm like, there's no way I could make this stuff up. Like, I'm elaborate, but there's no way I can make the stories up, and it hit almost 100% of the time. But like I said, I still second guess it. When somebody's like, oh, you were right, I'm like, right? Because I still second guess it because it's so natural. It's not something that I'm a researcher, right? So it's counterintuitive to my left brain. It's just like, there's no way this is possible, but totally is.
So the mediumship is something like, that's one of your inherent gifts. But
right.
What you're doing with your clients, and especially with the stuff we're going to be talking about today when we're talking about manifestation, that's like a whole other skill set. So What kind of work are you doing with your clients, and what kind of success are they seeing?
I have the ability, like I said, this may sound like otherworldly, right? But I have the ability to shift reality. And I do that by tapping into my clients, asking them what they want, and basically aligning the path in front of them. So if you think of you at a crossroad with like 6 different paths, I ask you what you want, and literally it comes a straight line for you to go, right? And so, and I can't explain it, right? Because I do everything with my hands. I can literally, like, if I was doing energy work on you, you can literally feel me messing around on your inside.
I have literally,
right?
Yeah.
So, and so it's something that can't be explained. But what I do is I magnetize my clients to their abundance. I focus mainly on manifestation. That is my niche. That is my specialty. Getting people what the fuck they want, right? And being unapologetic in saying, this is what I want. And telling them, like, it's okay to want what you want. What I want for my life and what you want for your life is so totally different, right? And so it's okay to want to live in luxury. You know, I have other clients that's like, I'm just fine making, 30,000. And that's not me, never will be, and I don't make apologies for it, right?
Well, like you said, everybody, they're different.
Right. And so I look at you as a whole person and align your energy to what you say you want. So what happens is those things that you say you want start happening for you. Okay. I create the opportunity, right? And what I tell people is, just because the opportunity is there, you still have to show up.
So this is different than the law of attraction stuff.
Right.
Because I feel like, people like watch or read The Secret, and they have this belief that they're just going to sit there and they're going to like make their vision board, or they're going to write it on a piece of paper and wait for the universe to just hand it to them. But what you talk about is a much more active role. It's not just sitting there going like, deliver.
I wish.
Yeah.
No.
So can you tell me the difference between that in the active role as opposed to sitting back and waiting for things to happen?
Me and law of attraction, I think it's a bunch of bullshit. Law of attraction is a bunch of bullshit. Because anything in life you have to work for. You might not have to work hard for it, but you got to show up some way, shape, form, or fashion, right? So if you say you want $1 million business, but you have poor customer service, or your products are shabby and this, that, and the other, that's not in alignment with what you say you want. So you may get it along the lines, but it's going to be harder for you to keep it, and those kinds of things. So I focus on manifesting lifestyle. I think law of attraction is so superficial, especially the way that they market it. Like I saw the Secret trailer, and it's literally this chick walking down the street and looking inside a jewelry store, and like, I think it's a bracelet, and she's like, oh, I want that bracelet. And to me, that's a tad superficial, and we go a layer deeper. We go like 10 leagues under the sea for what I want. We don't look at the surface layer superficial and give me $10,000, because it's not really the money you're seeking. You're seeking something else with that $10,000, whether it is freedom of movement, whether it is security, financial security, whether it is childcare, whether it is the ability to feed your family. You're seeking something else when you ask for $10,000. It's very rarely the money. You want to take that money and spend it somewhere. So what I get you to do is focus on what do you want that money for? And we're going to ask for that. So I focus on manifesting lifestyle instead of stuff. Because stuff you continually have to manifest. Once you get that 10,000, you're gonna have to manifest it again. Once you get those 3 clients in your program, the next time you run it, you have to manifest again. Whereas if I say I want my business to have a continual flow of clients who can pay for their services and they're ready to do the work, I only have to manifest that one time. And I don't have to do it again unless my intentions for my business changes. right? So it's just a little bit deeper, a little bit, like you said, more active. What is it that you want? How can you show up? How can you assist the universe, right? Because say you have a friend, and that friend is just like, oh, I need you to do this for me. Oh, I need you to do this for me. Oh, I need you to do this for me. And every time you show up, but they're never ready. So it's like, can you take me to the store? And you're like, sure. You drive, and they still haven't gotten dressed. And you're sitting there for an hour waiting for them to get dressed. Eventually, you're not going to want to help them anymore. And that's what law of attraction is. At some point, you have to take personal responsibility for your choices and your intentions and how you want your life to be, right? And so that's it.
With the work that you're doing with clients, you're aligning the energy side, you're clearing the path, and
right.
You're putting up the flares so that they know exactly where they're going. What do they do? Like, what is their job at that point?
Their job is to show up. So if you say you want a thriving business, you need to show up in your business. If you say you want visibility and to be seen, you need, when people start inboxing you about your services, you need to be prepared to talk about your services. You need to be prepared to book them. You need to have all the tools in place so that you can get paid. You know, those kinds of things. Like if I send them to you and you have no idea how to get paid, like what system do I use? What's a PayPal link? So it's those kind of things. So live within your intention is what I teach them. Okay, so if one of my clients is like, oh, I want visibility. That's cool. Are you on Facebook? No. Are you on Twitter? Are you on IG? How are they supposed to find you? Do you want them come knocking on your door? Like, you have to get where they can see you if you want to be visible, right? And so you can't say in one breath, I want to be visible, but invisible. At the same time. Those are incongruent, right? So you have to set up a Facebook page. You have to start talking. You have to be there for them to talk to, for them to see you, those kind of things. So really it's living your intention. And like, honestly, it can be easy work. It doesn't have to be hard work. Like literally I sleep all day. You know me. Sleep is my best friend.
In and out, you nap.
Yeah, I am. I'm in and out, right? And so I sleep a lot. And so it seems that that's not with intention with me saying I want a thriving business. But it is because I said I want to work less, but make more. So I don't work a lot unless I want to. And I realize that when I live outside of that work less and I keep piling on that plate, I get sick. And they make me so sick that I have to take off or I have to lean back a little bit. And that's their way of like, look, how is that working less? Didn't you say you want to work less but make more?
Yeah, they just reel you back in.
Right. And so what I started doing is started taking stuff off my plate. I stopped doing readings. I stopped doing this and I stopped doing that. And if I have excess energy, I'll just do a pop-up, you know, or something like that. And so I had to start living what I said I wanted. And so showing up doesn't always mean hard work. Sometimes it's just doing what you say you wanted. As simple as that. Yeah.
And we've talked a lot about the clarity component to manifestation. And some of that is, you know, people think about the superficial. I need $10,000. I want that bracelet. And then there's the stuff that's beneath the surface, the lifestyle things, and those really big shifts that you want to help people with. But how do they get clear? How do they know that they're as clear as they can get? And then what role does that clarity play in them being able to attract the stuff that they want? Right.
If you can't be clear, they can't take you where you want to be. Right. I relate spirit to the Uber driver. You have to know where the hell you're going for them to take you there. right? Like, you can't just get in the car and was like, all right, let's go. And they're like, so where do you want to go? I don't know.
Take
Just
me
take me
somewhere.
there, right? Take me somewhere. And so you're going to be driving forever and ever, spend a shit ton of money, and still not be where you want to be. And that's the similarities of spinning your wheels in the mud. You're doing all this stuff, and you're getting absolutely nowhere, right? And when I say get clear is, what the fuck do you want? Like, what is it that you want? And honestly, a lot of people don't know. They just don't. We live our lives being a certain way because that is what society has conditioned us to be, or we have obligations to family and all these other things. And so we really don't know what we want. So I get them to sit down, and ideally, if you can have whatever you want in the world, what is it you would be asking for, and how would that look to you? Okay, and your relationship as a parent, your home, your business, how would that look? How would it feel? Like, down to the core, day in and day out, how do you want to feel? Get down deep. And some people they've been in survival mode so long that when you ask them to get clear on, okay, aside from that, because you know you don't want that, what do you want? A lot of women, and it's a lot of women, right? Unfortunately, we are that the irritating girlfriend when it comes to spirit. Spirit is like, tell me what you want, right? And you're like, I don't care.
I don't know. What do you want?
I don't care. Just tell me where I should go, right? And so I know you've had your husband ask you this, what do you want for dinner? And you're like, it doesn't matter. I don't care. My husband just asked me this, and I said I don't care. But when I say I don't care, I don't care. He knows what I like. I don't care wherever you go. Just get me what I like when you go there, right? But most women, when they say they don't care, they really do. They just have no idea what it is they want. So they say, I don't care. But your husband says, oh, let's go to Guapo's. And you're like, I don't want Mexican. And he's like, okay, how about you want Subway? I don't want a sub. I don't want any sandwiches. Eventually, it's like, look, I asked you what the fuck you wanted, and you said, I don't care. Then obviously you do care. So what the hell do you want? If you just say, I don't know, that will be more of an honest answer. And I have clients that really say, I don't know what I want. Send me everything in these areas of my expertise. And then I can decide whether I want to do those things or not. It's okay to say, I don't know, send me all of it, right? But be honest with yourself and say, I really don't know what I want, but these are my areas of expertise. Send me opportunities in these areas, and I can decide whether or not I want to take advantage of that or not. I have a client just like that, and overnight she's been getting opportunities just left and right, and she decides whether or not that's in alignment with what she wants for herself. She's doing everything from radio shows to social media to co-hosting events and all those other things. She's just trying her hand to see where she ends up. So sometimes it's okay to say, I don't know. Right?
Well, if you go back to your food metaphor, it's like being at a buffet instead of having to choose. So
right.
You have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you just kind of find what you're actually in the mood for.
Right. And try it out.
Yeah.
It's okay to try it out until you figure it out.
What about that courage component? Because I know sometimes it's that women don't know, but sometimes it's that they're afraid to just want what they want and need what they need, and to express it out loud, or to own that, I want to have a luxurious lifestyle, or I want to have a 6-figure business, or whatever it looks like for them, whether it's shame or judgment or whatever. how do you navigate that side of it? Because if you want this thing, but you're too afraid to actually admit it to yourself, how do you do that?
I'm like you said, I'm the manifestation guru, right? And I still have this feeling. And one of my intentions this year is to get one of my first like high level, like everybody knows this person kind of client, right? So I want not a local celebrity, not a niche celebrity. I want a high level celebrity, but that instant fear of, okay, if I'm on that level, people are going to be looking at me and can criticize me and say, you know, psychics are bullshit and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So instantly I get that fear deep in my gut. Like, are you sure this is what you want? Mm-hmm. Okay. And I tell my clients the same thing we learned in the military. Nobody is without fear except a psychopath, a sociopath. Those are the only people who don't feel fear. Everybody feels fear. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Mm-hmm. I get scared. Everybody gets scared. You know, as I was an army member, when I went to Iraq, was I scared shitless? Hell yeah. Didn't want to go, but I had to twice, right? And so it's just like, and literally, I cried in my sleep on the plane ride over there because it's a deep fear. You're scared. You don't know what's waiting for you when you get off the plane. You know, it's all you see is the news of what's going on over there, and you're literally being dropped down in the center of this shit, and people being like, "Deuces, come back for you in a year," right? And so it's scary, scary stuff. But I had to do it. And I'm home, right? And so sometimes those things, you have to move through it. You're going to feel scared. You're going to feel unsure. You're going to feel that. You have to push yourself to do it anyway. Because I just say fearlessness is bullshit. You can't be without fear. But being able to face your fear and do it in spite of, I want you to be courageous and not fearless. And those are two totally different things.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That resonates a lot more for me too. The idea of it being a courage act. Well, now, one of the other things that I've heard in terms of being able to successfully manifest, the first part being clarity, and I don't remember if you and I have talked about this or not, but the other part is about being unattached to the outcome. And if you're like me and you're a control freak, or if you like me, or you, or if you're coming from a hunger, like the people who have that desperate, like, if I don't land these clients, I'm going to get evicted, and that kind of scarcity and fear-based energy. How do you go, you know, whatever is in my greater good, and then sit back and let that happen and wait for the opportunities to roll in to act upon? How do you have that lack of attachment?
It's hard. Honestly, I am not even going to sit here and placate you guys. I have trouble with that, especially as someone who could see stuff happening and see it coming. It's hard for me to release the outcome when I'm trying to make stuff happen because I'm a manifester. So essentially, I'm going to try to make it happen. And I have to constantly remind myself to leave it alone. And that may be what you're going to have to do. Sometimes I have to make myself busy. So I have this saying is ask for what you want and then get you some business, right? So leave them alone. Don't walk behind them, you know, saying, I need you to do X, Y, Z. They heard you the first time. Mm-hmm. And so what you need to do is just act as if it's already so, move in that direction, and have trust. This isn't to say it's going to turn out the way you envision it, right? Because that's something totally different. Mm-hmm. But it's to say whatever happens as long as I know I did my part. Because essentially, that's all you can do is your part. So if you're trying to get this job, if you turned in your resumes, if you've been applying, you show up to the interviews, you knock them out the park, you do all this, that is literally all you can do. You have zero control over the other aspects of the hiring process. So bothering your mind over worrying whether or not those pieces are falling into place, it's useless worrying, because you have zero control over it. So I like metaphors. If you follow me, you know this. I like putting it on a level that you can Barney leveling it out for you, right? So if you have a spouse, you ask them to load the dishwasher, right? And then they load it, and you stand there like, no, rinse it off. You need to rinse off the dishes when you put them in there. And no, don't put those on the bottom. Put the bowls up top. Put the silverware on the bottom. Eventually, he's going to look like you fucking do it. Like, if you have all this, you do this then. And he's going to walk away. If he's anything like my husband, he's going to be like, F you, and walk away. So when I say ask for what you want and then get you some business, if you ask your husband to load the dishwasher, let him load it and you walk away. Get you some business, right? Because if you wanted to do it, you should do it. But if you're going to ask spirit to handle it, let them handle it. And go get you some business somewhere. I don't care whether it's pouring yourself into another project. When my husband was deployed, I redecorated a lot, right? I redid my entire freaking house because that was my way of focusing on something other than the fact of him being gone for 13 months, right? And so the first week he was gone, I redid my bedroom. And eventually it turned into planning other people's parties and all that. And what happens is 13 months went by and he came home, you know? So really, you might have to start pouring yourself into other stuff to take your focus off of that thing.
Yeah, the term that came to me this morning, like I literally woke up with this in my head and it sat through my whole meditation, was let go and let God. And I know that a lot of people have used that as sort of like the mantra through that waiting period. But
right,
again, I'm a control freak. So I'm just sort of like, I have faith, I believe, but I would really like to be able to participate in this.
And this song that I like is called After You've Done All You Can, You Just Stand. And it's just like, it goes to that of, I've done all I can do to assist the universe and what I'm asking for. So at this point, I only can stand. I can only wait for the outcome. And the outcome may not be in the package that you want it to be. Like in my situation, if they told me it was going to come in a package of seizures, I wouldn't, like, no, I'm going to send that back, return the sender, stamp it back. I don't want that. Right? So when you ask for something, just because it looks like it's falling apart doesn't mean it's not really falling into place. I have a client that was like, I want to, independent location, kind of one of those entrepreneurs, like independent location entrepreneurs.
Like the nomadic work style type thing.
Yeah. And so I told her, I said, look, watch the way you say things, because if you lose your house, will you be upset behind that? Because you said you want to be location independent. So if you lose your house, would that hurt you? Would you be upset behind that? Because that's what you're asking for. You're asking for no roots anywhere. So you want to be able to rent, you want to be able to hop, you want to be able to travel. That means maybe not having that home or having that mortgage. So if you're having trouble paying your mortgage right now, and you say you want independent location lifestyle, if your house was to get foreclosed on right now,
how would that
feel?
So that's where that clarity comes in, and that what is the desire behind what you're asking for?
Right.
That comes into play, to be able to make sure that you're calling in the right things and that you're aware of what the consequences is. are, consequences are.
Right.
Here's another question. I'm sure you have clients who are coming to you because they want to attract more clients. They want a new career. They want a new home. They want a loving partner. Are the principles for attracting those things the same?
Yes. I have a client who wanted a partner in my last session. And she was just like, I want a relationship. I want this. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. So what we start doing was making space for him, because if you sleep on all sides of your bed, is there really any space for anybody else? So I started making her, well, you sleep on a certain side of your bed. Clear out space in your closet for this person. Clear out a dresser. Put an extra toothbrush in the bathroom. So start acting as if it is already so. I know he's coming. And so when he does come, it's not taking you by surprise. And I also have some that they're playing the field. So they're dating these losers that they know are losers, but they're keeping them around because, they do things for them, whether it's sex or they're moving, they like come and they help out, or they buy them food and all this. And they're like, well, I want a good man. And I was like, there's no space in your life for a good man. They was like, what do you mean? I said, well, you're messing with these losers. Well, when he comes, I'm going to cut them all off. It don't work like that.
There's no room for him to come in the first place.
Right. It don't work like that, honey. You got to release them and say, I trust you to send me the one that could fulfill everything that I'm asking for and everything that I need. As long as you're settling, you're telling them, I don't really want what I'm asking for. I have settled for this and I'm okay right now. Until you release them, they're not coming. So that goes back to living within the intentions that you say you want.
Yeah, that all sounds aligned. I can see how the pieces kind of add up to each other. Okay, so let's I do want to save a couple minutes at the end for Q&A since we've got some people on, but I'd like to look at one more thing before we go, or go into that anyhow. Abundance blocks. I shouldn't say everybody's got them, but they're very common. Some of it is inherited stuff, some of it's past life stuff, some of it is just current limiting beliefs. Can anybody bust through them? And if so, what's like the easiest way to transition that lack mentality?
The easiest way is to recognize the why.
Like the story behind it, or
why? Yes. Why is it like this? With me and my clients, I'm able to remove the karmic stuff and things of that nature. Because sometimes it is karmic. Like, you've been this way your whole life, you don't understand why, right? Sometimes it's you were a pauper in a previous life, and that kind of like, carried over. So now you make do with scrimping and saving and taking scraps from people and being okay with it. Because that is what you were so used to, okay? And sometimes it's how you were raised. If you struggled when you were a child and now you're an adult and you have to live this luxury lifestyle of having, the mansion, the Beamer, and all these things, is it because you want it, or are you trying to show people you're not poor anymore, right? And so it's not always a lack mentality. Sometimes it's us presenting a facade, right? And so sometimes it's, why do you want what you want? Okay? And getting clear on the why can get you past it. But it's recognizing truly, why do you want what you want? And sometimes you don't know, and it requires me looking into your past life or something like that. And sometimes you really do know, especially if you grew up poor, right? And now you have this, you can't keep money and all these things. And it's just like, because you're constantly on show of, I'm not poor anymore. I'm not poor anymore. Because you told yourself when you become an adult, you're never going to be poor anymore. And I have people who were homeless before and they made it, and now they don't enjoy life. You know, they're constantly working 24/7. They're scared to take a vacation. They do all these things because they think in their mind that I have to be prepared for that one day I'm going to be homeless again.
Mm-hmm. It's like anything to insulate from that, right?
Right, right. And so it's recognizing why. You know, I have friends, she's like making 20,000 a month, 30,000 months and stuff like that. And it's just like, why are you scared to take a week off? And she goes, you know, I don't know. It's just, I was like, what are you doing all this for?
Mm-hmm. And some of that too is that
right.
that hard inset belief that it has to be hard, or that we have to work hard to be able to deserve the things that we have too, right? So there's so many different facets to it that you have to almost do that deep dive explore to be like, this is actually the root, this is your truth that is, you know, driving the bus, and now like we can shine the light in that darkness.
Right. Right.
Wow. Okay, so before we get into Q&A, I just want to tell you guys a little bit about how I met Ty in the first place. I was introduced to her from one of our mutual friends, and she's going to be speaking at a retreat I'm hosting in BC in June. And she's going to be talking about all of this stuff and way more. And the best part too is that on 2 of the nights we're having like mastermind dinner, so you can literally like sit at a table with her, have dinner, and chat her ear off about all this kind of stuff. So it's called Summer of Soul. It's happening June 8th to the 11th. And actually Ty has this is like the only teeny tiny little plug. You'll get a couple of emails and that's it. But she has this ridiculous bonus. I can't even tell you, because this is my 3rd call, and the first call had like a good bonus. The second call had a more generous bonus. This is the third one, and it's even more generous. So she's got 2 parts. The first is the Manifesting Everyday Miracles Toolkit, and that's one you would get right away. And the second, did you say it was April it's coming out?
Right, yes. So
in April, she's releasing something called the Goddess Toolbox, and it's worth $2,000. So right now, early bird pricing is on. It's $1,000 to be able to come to the retreat, and you would get a $2,000 bonus. So it's kind of ridiculous. And all of that will be if you purchase a ticket using her affiliate link, which I'll send out to you in an email within the next 48 hours. So that is the only plug we're going to do. We're now going to open it up for Q&A, and everybody's muted. So if you have a question, can you let me know in the chat box, and I will unmute you, and that way we don't have you guys talking all over each other. So things that you can ask her for anything. So it can be about manifesting. It can be about working with spirit. It can be like a specific, like, can you actually, yeah. So if you just have a question you want to ask spirit, Ty is willing to ask on your behalf. So I'm going to just crack the chat box open. I can keep an eye on you guys. Don't be shy. She's not.
No, and I'm very non-judgmental, so, you know, everything is everything.
Yeah.
I've done a lot in my past, right? And so I don't judge.
Yeah. And I think that the thing that's really beautiful too is that like the sacrifice that you make to be able to do this work, the fact that you've gone through seizures and that you've given up your career and all of these things in order to be of service is so big. And I think it's really expressive of your heart. So, Ty has done work with me. She's amazing. I can promise you that you're in good hands. If you do ask a question, don't be shy. And if you're not comfortable straight up asking yourself, because maybe you're shy, you can go into the chat box. You can actually set it so that you're just asking it to us, and we won't even, I can ask it for you. And then no one will even know it was your question, and you can still get the insight that you're looking for. So we've got the time. We've got, another 15 minutes for questions. So does anyone have anything that they would like to know? Amanda. Okay. And I just said your name, so that's so silly. I'm going to unmute you because I'm assuming that's why you said that and not what your question is. Here we go. All right, Amanda, you're up.
Hello.
Hello.
I've been having a lot of dreams lately, and they've been, I think they've been, messages from my ancestors, and I'm having trouble trying to figure out what they are. I'm trying, I know that I have some sort of gift, but I don't have any experience or training on how to deal with them. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like I get like this message, and I know that there's something important there, but I'm just like not quite there yet to figure it out. And you said that, you know, when you found your gifts, you got help on how to use them. And how do you do that?
Okay, I have a mentor that I use to that is her specialty, right? So sort of like I have a manifestation specialty. She can talk to spirit, and her specialty is helping someone to expand their gifts, right? But for you, it appears that they are in dreams. Okay, so what you can try to start doing is going and asking specific questions when you're trying to figure something out, right? But I also hear that you kind of already know, but you can guess yourself. Okay, so in the moment, you can sit down and say, what does this mean? And just wait for what comes into your mind, what comes into your heart, how you feel, all those things. And don't second guess what you hear, see, feel, and all those things. So if I was to ask, hey, I had this dream about XYZ, what does that mean? What does that mean to me? And I close my eyes, and instantly something pops up into my head, whether it's a picture, whether it's words, whether it's somebody's name. You know, really get in tune with your body and look inward, because that is where all the answers are coming from. Okay. Is inward. And I do have some tools that I teach, that's like getting in touch with spirit, how to get yes and no answers. And also writing through spirit, which allows them to communicate through writing. And I could give those links to Serena, and so that she can put them on the email that goes out, so that you guys could have at it. It's on my YouTube channel, but I'll give them to Serena so that everybody can get it. Everybody could utilize it. And it's really like allowing them to say, hey, this is what the hell I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. So I've also wonder, like, you know, you say like don't second guess yourself. I will have like an intuition about something, and this thought will come into my head, and then I wonder, is that my intuition, or is that my mind going to different places and doing what ifs and worries or fears and things? And how do I separate those out? Like just recently I had a trip for my job, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to go. I kept feeling like I didn't want to go, but then I was like, why is that? Is that because I'm afraid to go? Is that, you know? And so I went, and it was horrible, even though I had like wonderful intentions, and I had planned, you know, like, and I had all this wonderful, you know, stuff that was supposed to happen. Like nothing happened the way it was supposed to. And it was like, okay, so was I supposed to listen to that feeling and not go? So how do I know that in the moment?
For whether it was ego, which is our conscious self, or spirit or higher intuition. I gave my ego a persona. Like she had literally a name. I figured out what she looked like, and I assigned it to her. So when she's talking, I literally know when she's talking, and I just tell her to shut the fuck up. Like it's
Okay.
like so mine is called G.I. Jane. So when she's talking, she has a voice. She has in my head an image of what I think she looks like, and I gave her a name. So if I say who's talking and she says Jane, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you know,
Okay.
like so give your conscious self a name. Give that ego portion of you a name and a persona, and I could guarantee you're going to be able to decipher the next time that starts coming up. But I assume that you're getting a lot of intuitive insight, and you neglect it, and then like in the end you're like, man, I should have listened, right? And
Yeah.
so yeah, but sometimes spirit has what they want us to do, and we have to do something different. Like if it's your job, they may say don't go, but you have to show up, right?
Yeah.
It's like so.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We've got another question. Thanks, Amanda. I'm just gonna mute you again. Okay, and here we go. Okay, Kesha.
Yeah. Hi, it's me, Keisha. Okay, my question is, I think I'm battling with myself as far as a fear. Like, I believe I have a deep-rooted fear, and I need to know how to go in there and figure it out so I can move on. I think that is holding me back. At least that's what I feel.
Okay, but in terms of what? Like, what is that fear? What in terms of what do you have that fear about?
Growth. Like I'm working on a business, but I have a fear that I don't know if it's fear of success, a fear of failure. It's a fear of something.
What I see is like kind of like multifold. Okay, you have a fear of showing up. Because once you put yourself out there and if somebody hires you, you got to show up. And then that's that fear of letting that person down, like not the promises you make to these individuals. And then there's a fear of public failure. So it's not failure in the sense that, I tried it, it didn't work, oh well. But it's that fear of publicly failing where people are going to see you fail, right? And I'm going to tell you, nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck. Like in our mind, we think everybody's looking at us and they're not, right? And nobody knows you failed unless you tell them most of the time, right? And so I used to dance. And they used to tell us, if you mess up, keep going because nobody knows the routine. But
okay,
in business, if you mess up, keep going because nobody knows your business but you. So there were times when I launched something and it totally fell flat. You know what I did? I launched something else. I kept going. Nobody knows that nobody signed up for your program unless you tell them nobody signed up for your program. So that public failure is not as big as you think it is, so that you can release that. Okay, failing, you have a fear of failing in front of people and people and mocking you for it, right? And that I told you so. I told you you couldn't do it. There are a lot of people on your sidelines trying to deter you from doing what you want to do. And you have a fear of actually living up to what they're saying is going to happen for you. But screw them. They don't know. They don't know nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. This is what I say to people. Stop listening to folks that aren't where you want to be. You know, if they don't own their own business, they can't tell you how to run your own business. You know, so stop taking advice from people who are not where you want to be. Stop talking to them about your stuff. And sometimes we have people in our lives that are going to be in our lives and they're there for a reason. I have friends that I hang out with and that's all we do is hang out. They know nothing about my business because I got tired of them like taking a pin and busting my balloon about my business. So we don't talk about business no more. So if you have individuals like that constantly like bust your balloon about it, stop talking to them about business. Hang out with them. You know, they have a specialty. Use them the way they're intended to be used and don't expect anything other than that. Does that all that make sense?
Yes, it does. And especially the part where you were talking about public. I walk with a cane, so I kind of hide. It's not my so I'm kind of embarrassed, and I don't know if I will be taken serious with me walking with a cane. I'm not old, you know.
My thing is own it. Own it, honey. I got a cane and I got a walker. Now, you won't see me in my walker ever, right? It's not going to happen. But I have a cane, and it's pretty, and it's pearl. It has a mother of pearl handle. It has rhinestones on it and stuff. You got to own it, right?
Right.
And like Amanda said, get a blinged out cane and rock it. That I did. Mine is gold and mother of pearl, and it has rhinestones on it. And, you know, that is my personality. If I'm using my cane, it is what it is. And if you have no shame, people around you ain't gonna have no shame. What you're doing is projecting your inside feelings onto other people.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. All right, I'm on it.
You sound it. You sound ready.
Oh, I am.
You are.
I mean, I'm good at what I do. It's just that's blocking me. And I guess, like you said, it's me. So I need to fix that. And the rest of that, I got it. The business part, all that, I'm good to go. It's just that one thing.
Just look at who you admire. Okay? There are people you admire right now that may be a little bit overweight, may be a little bit shabby, may have a lisp or a stutter or these other things wrong with them. You don't give a damn. Like, nobody cares. Unless you're trying to teach people how to run a marathon yourself. Like, unless it's that kind of thing, nobody's gonna care. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
I'm going to mute you up one more time. And now I was just announcing in the chat that we've got time for one more. We have one time for like a baby question. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to sneak in? If so, just send me a message in the chat. And then I can unmute you. And if not, then Ty, do you have any sort of like last messages that we can end on, that they can, or actions that they can take, or anything they need to know?
Okay. Right now the energy for manifestation is very high, right? I call it fast and furious February, right? So whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that you're intending to do, all your intentions and what you want, put it down on paper tonight. Write it out. Like, you don't have to do any ritual. You don't have to do anything. Just get it down on paper, get clear about it, and watch stuff start happening for you. Literally, it's happening within minutes of you getting clear and writing it out without having to do anything special. Right now, like, literally, Spirit is writing tickets, like writing checks and stuff right now. So write out what you need, write out what you want, write out what you want to accomplish, and watch Spirit show up and show out for you this month.
That is fantastic. And like, what a great time that we got to do this chat while that energy was so high.
Right.
Awesome. Okay, so you guys, I'm going to be sending out a replay. So if you jumped on late, or if you wanted a refresher, you're going to get it in your email. You're going to get it twice. I'm also going to pop in the details about Ty's very generous bonus with her link for the retreat and the extra goodies she was talking about to be able to add to the follow-up that we'll do. So they're little goodies. Thank you guys so much for taking the time. Thank you, Ty, for sharing your genius with us. I'm always looking for excuses to get to jam with you, so this was a nice one. And all of you for joining us and for having the courage to ask your questions. Big love to all of you. Okay, thanks so much.
Bye.
At the recording.